Jnananjanasyalakamitimirandasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshunamilitanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Taja Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantam Manupeta Apeta Krityam Rapayano Vidahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tan Maitaya Taravo Benedus Tam Savabhutam Hridayam Munimanatasmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivanarotamam Devyam Sarasatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayed Bhaktya Vina Parada Lakshay Kiptastakamari Tarangamadye Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prapanna Brinde Namaste Charanada Vindam Tavevasmi Najivami Tvayavina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayanam Charanandike Vancha Kalpatarupascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So we begin by offering our most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of our beloved Gurus, unto Sri Guru Pada Padmanitya Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Sto Tarsat Sri Srimad Abhaya Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahashula Prabhupada and Sri Guru Pada Padmanitya Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Asto Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj under our exalted Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, all the assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. So now we're on text 10 of the third yam, third chapter of the Sri Bhajan Rahasya. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter class today because I have to finish up packing, leaving today. All the auspicious titis, nakshatras, Shubha Aura, Shubha Chandogya, it's all lined up. I never had them all line up just right like this. This is great. So, what is text 10? We're hearing verses from what? Yamuna Stotra? Was that what it was? Let's see, what did they say? Yamunacharya's writings. Srila Prabhupada quoted him frequently. So, Nimajato Nantabhava Navantash Chirayame Kulam Ivasi Labdha Tvavapi Labdam Bhagavandi Danim Anutamam Patram Idam Dayaya. O Ananta, since time immemorial, I have been drowning in this unlimited ocean of material existence. The hope of one day attaining your lotus feet is the shore of this ocean. Immersed in this material existence, I am tearfully praying to you with a distressed voice to please appear as Guru and deliver me. Wow. The shore. We want to get to the shore of that ocean. Wow. Get out of that ocean. So what does Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj say about this verse? He says, O Lord, as a result of my previous activities, I am submerged in the ocean of material existence, where many kinds of reactions are rising as huge waves, tormenting me with happiness and distress. Anybody here experience distress time to time? Happiness? Not so much happiness, lots of distress, right? Well, it's your own fault. Take accountability, right? And we heard yesterday that even, whatever it takes, even if you have to punish me, I'll even do that, just get me out of here, crush me, whip me, beat me, whatever it takes, hammer me on the anvil, right? Like gold is purified by hammering and fire. Heated fire and the impurities come out. We want to be purified. So this path of karma has no beginning and no end. I do not know how to swim in this vast ocean. and the crocodiles of lust, anger, and so forth are eating my body. Yeah, there's no escaping. When you get in that big, you ever see these Australian saltwater crocodiles? It's kind of would be in the ocean. There's no escape. Those things are like 20 feet long and jaws like this. When they grab you and start rolling around, and not just one crocodile, many crocodiles, lust, anger, so forth. They're all grabbing at you. One's got a leg, one's got an arm, one's got your face. That's what lust, anger, greed, all of these horrible, negative, unfavorable emotions are. And they're eating my body. Oh, Lord, please rescue me. You're my only hope. I now relinquish dependence on my own strength. And instead of I'm now taking shelter of your lotus feet. Right, like Gajendra, he's a prime example. He got attacked by a crocodile. Massive elephant, the king of the elephants, and he could not escape. And up until that time, who could oppose him? So proud of his strength. No animal in the jungle can oppose a huge elephant, even lions. They may take old, sick elephants or babies, but not a giant, full-grown elephant. Not possible. And it was an arrangement of the Lord. That crocodile was also a demigod that was cursed. And so he was very powerful. And they were fighting for, was it 1,000 years or 10,000 years? 1,000 years, struggling to get out. And finally, his strength was fading. And he realized, I can't. Whatever pride I had, and he had great pride. He had a herd of beautiful she elephants, and everywhere he went, people acknowledged him, and now it was all gone. And so in that state, he was able to remember the Lord. He was actually previously a great pious king, Indraduna, whom we know about, and by some accident had been cursed by a sage, right? But ultimately, this curse led to a very auspicious result, and also a great lesson for us. That's another thing when we consider the what appears to be inauspicious affairs of devotees. Oh, he made that mistake, he made that offense. We don't criticize. We may hear the story and learn from it. And devotees actually are not really subjected to the curses of others. They could avoid it. But sometimes out of great humility or some internal inspiration, they'll accept that for another purpose of the Lord, like Vitrasura. He was Chitraketu, another great devotee. And he was joking with his friend Lord Shiva, and Parvati didn't like it. She misunderstood his friendly, joking nature and cursed him to be a demon. And he could have avoided the curse. And Lord Shiva told her that, but he didn't. And he became Vitrasura, and he became an enemy of the demigods. And he was so powerful. If you ever see this picture in the Bhagavatam, fighting with the demigods, he's massive. And he's standing up, and they're like this big below him, and he's stomping them. Indra tries to throw his mighty club at him. He catches it almost like a toothpick, throws it back at him. No one could defeat him. They had to do some special austerity in order to get the weapon that could kill him. And even then, he just lay down and accepted it. And while they were cutting off his head, and it took a year, he was just reciting prayers. And those prayers are acknowledged in the Bhagavatam as very high. Even Indra was thinking, this person is a greater devotee than I am. I'm thinking he's a demon. He was born into the dynasty of demons. He took that role for pastimes, but actually he's a greater devotee than I. Right? Like Bali Maharaj, also born into the dynasty of demons. But his inherent devotional nature was within him because he's a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, and when given the opportunity, that came forth. Right? So, right now, these crocodiles, I should have finished the purport. As you protected the elephant Gajendra with your disc, please save me from this crocodile-like ocean of material existence. Prabhu, I have also heard that you are the pinnacle of compassion. Please understand that I am fallen and wretched. Even if someone searches the entire universe, he will not find any better object of this compassion than I. Knowing this, kindly bestow your mercy upon me. This is something I didn't understand. Remember I told you that story about my first day with the devotees out on the bus. We went on Sankirtan. That devotee read me that prayer by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He also read another prayer by Narottam Das. And he was saying, I am the most fallen and since you're the deliverer of all the most fallen, my claim comes first. And I was thinking, well, if he's really humble, why is he demanding to be first? Right? He should wait in line. But no, not for this. Not for this. This is, the Lord can give as many benedictions, deliver as many people all at once if he wants. You have to have that greed. Save me now. In the material world, if you're on the Titanic, maybe you can say, okay, women and children first, I will die on the Titanic. But in this instance, take me, take me, take me. Right? I'm the worst. And to prove your glory, your name as Petit Pavan, accept me. But notice how there's a common theme in all these prayers and purports. I'm wretched. I'm fallen. I'm the most fallen. I'm the most destitute. That quality of humility has to be there. Right? Must be there. Otherwise, the prayer won't work. This is that third verse. You have to have that. Right? So this has to be cultivated. Whenever you're walking around, every half hour or so, when you get really prideful or puffed up or think about I'm this, I'm that, I'm so-and-so, just remember these great personalities. And compared to them, what are we? I just heard this tape of Srila Prabhupada. Oh my God. It was so heart-wrenching. He was speaking to the devotees. Where was it? I've got this one godbrother, one of the original disciples, named Gargamuni, and he's just gone all in on posting on Facebook, all these shorts, all these videos, all these quotes. Every day there's just a flood of them. A lot of people spend their time posting on this thing and on that thing, but he's doing all Prabhupada. And he and his brother did a lot of service for Srila Prabhupada back, And so this was Srila Prabhupada speaking to the devotees. And he was speaking about his Guru Maharaj's desire for preaching. And then he becomes very reflective, and his voice becomes very soft, and he says, and therefore, I want to thank all of you, my disciples, because you are helping me fulfill the desire of my Guru Maharaj. And for that, I thank you so much. And his voice is cracking. He's weeping. And he's expressing, you just felt in his voice this just ultimate humility, but the humility of the spiritualist, pure, sacred humility, right? Humility that softens the heart and endears you to that person, right? And he spoke to his disciples that, I believe my Guru Maharaj has sent you to me, and you're helping me. And there are two things. One, his gratitude to his disciples, not because they were serving him, but because they were helping him to serve his Guru Maharaj. Everything was coming through him to his Guru. He wasn't accepting it for himself. His whole purpose in life was to fulfill the mission of his Guru. Right? Surely Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj said that he emptied himself of everything except that desire and order of his Guru Maharaj. And therefore, he became Nityananda Avesh. Because Nityananda is our original Adi Guru, Akhanda Guru Tattva. And he was fully empowered by Nityananda to do something that would ordinarily be impossible. And he gave the credit to his disciples, and he was crying in gratitude. It was so beautiful. So we have to cultivate that. Those things. That first of all, what is our purpose? What is our mission? It's to fulfill, through our Guru's order, the mission of Mahaprabhu. And our Guru has so mercifully brought that to us. And Guru, they're not thinking that I am Guru, they're thinking that I am a humble, Srila Prabhupada said, like a peon. In India, peon means like a messenger, like a postman, and they just feel so grateful to have that role. And I'm just giving you the order of Mahaprabhu, of our sampradaya, of our Guru Varga. And they're so humble, and so we should be so grateful and realize our own wretched position. What are we? What do we have? Who do we think we are? We've got nothing, right, except that mercy, right? So then the next verse, Bhavantam evanucharan nirantara prashantani sheshamano ratantara kadaham aikantika nitya kinkara prahara shishyami sanatta jivitam. All mental creations and desires are alleviated and the mind pacified by uninterrupted service to you. When will I be designated as your eternal servant? When will I be radiant with joy, having obtained such a competent master as you? Yamunacharya, praying like that. What was I? I read something else that, who was speaking this? Was it Gurudev? Was it Srila Prabhupada? Anyway, it was that, they're quoting Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami. Was it over here? No. That the soul, bhakti is inherent in the soul. Is that over there? Did I read that this morning? Yeah, that very beautiful verses. Those are great verses. That this Krishna prema is inherent in the heart of every devotee, of every person, of every living entity, right? Even the bacteria, even the bugs. It's there, but it's dormant. And the process of sadhana purifies the heart, uncovers it, right? Bhakti only comes from bhakti itself. It's not the fruit of knowledge, of austerity, of work, of anything, right? It's not even the fruit of sadhana. Sadhana doesn't create bhakti, it helps to uncover it, right? And so he's saying that all my problems are created, the mental problems, impure desires, they can be pacified and eliminated by uninterrupted service, which means our sadhana, right? Our practice. And when will I be designated as your eternal servant? It means when will I be recognized, awakened to that? We're already eternal servants, but we're forgetful, right? And covered. And we think that we have a post, we're the masters of this, the masters of that. Even the most insignificant thing, we try to claim ownership and proprietorship and some pride, we take that in that, right? Which is why when Krishna is really merciful, he takes away everything, so you don't have anything to be proud about. It's why devotees, notice devotees, most of them are driving around 25-year-old Camrys. Right? Like that one, that's the devotee car. You go to Badger, probably a dozen of those, old beat-up Camrys, old beat-up Corollas. They don't have a lot. And that's also because they're not really striving for a lot. Don't have the motivation, the intense determination to acquire. And even when they try to, oftentimes it's crushed. And then by Krishna's mercy, by Guru's mercy, they realize, this is Krishna. He wants me to focus on my bhajan, my sadhana. Not bhajan. We're not doing bhajan yet. We're doing sadhana. Okay. So then Gurudev says about this, he's going to tell us, while chanting, so keep this in mind. These things we can carry throughout the day. While chanting, the sadhak prays as follows. O Prabhu, you are the Lord of the universe, and I am your servant. But because of being opposed to serving you, I have gone far away from you. Now I am tormented by the three kinds of afflictions of your Maya. Please bestow the mercy of your lotus feet upon this unfortunate person. Prabhu, when will that auspicious day come, when illusory desires leave my heart and I become your unalloyed servant? At that time, I will please you by fulfilling your inner desire, Manubhishta Seva. All right, so what are the three kinds of afflictions that the living entity suffers in this world? Three kinds of misery. You know those? What are they?
From the mind.
Well, there's a Sanskrit. What?
From other beings.
Yeah.
From nature.
Yeah.
And from
your own self. So what your own suffering, what, your own, the complexities of your own miserable mind and body, Atma, Adi Atmaka. The nature is controlled by the devatas, right? Adi Daivik. And then the miseries from other living entities, like insects, and, if you're illegal, an ICE agent would be one of those guys, Adi Bodhik, all the living entities that cause you distress. Those three kinds of things continually harassing us. No relief from those. Adhyatmic, Adidivik, 32 inches of snow today, and frozen pipes, and Adibodic, mosquitoes, ticks, Lyme disease, all of these. And then Manubhishta. Meditate on that. We hear this prayer about Srila Rupa Goswami. Why was he so glorious? Because Sri Chaitanya Manubhishta, Stapitam Jena Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami bestow his mercy upon me? He received the full mercy of Mahaprabhu because he understood the inner desire of Mahaprabhu and dedicated his life to fulfilling that. Right? And actually, that's the progression we're seeking in our service as well. Our Guru, right? Serving our Guru, who's a representative of Rupa Goswami. We are Rupa Nugas. We are followers in the line of Rupa Goswami. So everyone has an inner desire, right? But the inner desire of our Guru Varga is in that line of fulfilling Mahaprabhu. And they all have specialities. Srila Prabhupada, he really emphasized book publication and distribution. And devotees picked up on that. Oh, he's always preaching about it. And that's not to say that he minimized the importance of other things. But in terms of what he had come to do, he came to print transcendental literature and distribute it as widely and broadly as possible. He spoke that over and over because he understood that. He received that personal instruction from his guru. He tells that story over and over, that he was with his Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and they were having a conversation. And it may have been in the Bhagavad Gita Math, because there is a story of Srila Prabhupada. He didn't get to see Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada that often. And he was unknown to many of the devotees in the Gaudiya Math, the big sannyasis and all, because he lived in Allahabad. He traveled and went here and there were some devotees that knew him very well. Bhakti Bhagan Keshav Maharaj knew him very well. Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj knew him very well. But many didn't. And one day at the Bhagavad Gita Math, Srila Saraswati Prabhupada was in his room, and on the veranda outside, because all the buildings in India, they all have verandas, right? Little roof above it. It cuts the sun out, gives you a place to come out and in the morning and sit or, walk back and forth. And no one was allowed in the room at that time, and they're all standing around. It was like that with Srila Prabhupada too, that he's doing, his own chanting or writing or whatever, and everyone's told to stay out. And then they saw, this is how it's described, because this story is told by one of the devotees who were there, a householder came. And, he wasn't an imposing figure, and he's walking very humbly. And he walked up the steps onto the veranda, and everyone's looking at him, who's he? And when he got onto the veranda, all of a sudden the door opened. And Saraswati Prabhupada said, "You, come in." And Srila Prabhupada went in, and everyone else was looking, "Hey, who's that, Who's he, Why does he get to see Prabhupada?" And they were in there a long time. And when the door finally opened again, and Srila Prabhupada came out, the devotee who was telling the story said that he was radiant, was glowing. And he just very humbly left, right? Now, what went on at that time, who can say? We can speculate, like there are times when, like you read in Jaiva Dharma, when Guru has a very special kind of meeting with the disciple one-on-one, when he's giving, details of one's Siddha Deha, one's internal service, right? Very special. That special illumination may come at that time to very rare and qualified persons. Of course, Srila Prabhupada was already a liberated soul, but they go through these stages. Mahaprabhu did not manifest this until he went and met with Ishwar Puri. Internally, he was experiencing it, but when he came back, then the Anubhav showed the external display of his extraordinary internal emotions. And so anyway, Srila Prabhupada was like that. And that could have been the time when he received this instruction that, we have this very beautiful mat. Actually, that Bug Bazaar mat was built by one very wealthy man who had formerly been a tenant of the family of Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj. And he and another devotee, slightly more senior devotee, were going around collecting because Saraswati Prabhupada wanted to build a temple. And they came to this big house with a gate and a sign, and Bhaktivedanta Keshav, who was Vinod Brahmachari at that time, looked at the sign, and he called the gatekeeper. And he said, "Hey, tell your master that," I guess, what was his regular name? Was it Vinod also, before he was initiated? Anyway, he gave the name that he had as the zamindar where this person used to live. And then they sent the message in, and all of a sudden this man comes running out, and he offers obeisance to Vinod Brahmachari, because they had affectionate relationship, it was very, as zamindars, he was very cultured, very polite, very qualified, and with tenants, his tenants loved him. And so then he invited them in, and they began to speak, and they told him what their mission was, that, we're here on behalf of Saraswati Prabhupada, and we want to acquire land for building a big temple. And the man said, I will give you the money to buy the land immediately. And they got the land. And then after some time, he called him back and said, it's not enough just to give the land. You know this quote, right? What is a plate? If you give a plate, then you should also provide the dinner. So I'll build the temple too. And it was a magnificent, I've never been there. Have you ever been to Bug Bazaar? I've never been there. We don't go because there's some history. So it was very opulent, marble everywhere, very big, very grand. But Srila Prabhupada was telling our Prabhupada that now that we have this big temple, all the devotees are simply arguing, who gets this room, who gets that room, you know that, right? We argue. I should have a better room, you should have that lesser room. Anyway, he said, everything's ruined by this. He said, sometimes I think we should just tear down the temple, sell all the marble, and just print books. And then he tells Srila Prabhupada, if you ever get any money, print book. And so Srila Prabhupada took that deeply to heart, and he saw how his own Guru Maharaj did that. He was so dedicated to publishing books. They had multiple printing presses. They did a daily paper. They did things weekly, monthly, and he reprinted so many books and commentaries from the Bhagavatam, of Sanatana Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's books, Chaitanya Charitamrita, so many things he was dedicated to printing and commenting on. And so Srila Prabhupada absorbed that deeply in his heart. And for him, that was the Manobishta of Saraswati Prabhupada. And when he prepared himself by doing the Bhagavatam. He also did a short thing on Ramananda Roy, a little commentary on Ramananda Roy Samvad. I think before he left, he had done Easy Journey to Other Planets. And there was a couple of things also. In any case, and he'd already started his Back to Godhead. So as soon as he got to America, that was his first business. And that was injected into the hearts of all of his disciples. They had this really simple little printing press, that old-fashioned kind, and they had one of those old, what were they called? Was it not mimeograph? We used to have them in school where you had that, the teacher would write on something and they'd print it and it had that smell. What was that? Yeah. What was that called? Anyway, some really rudimentary form of printing, right? And they had that too, right? And he had a dictaphone, which you wouldn't know what that is, but it's kind of early tape recorder kind of thing. And he was just focused on that. And he imbued that into his disciples, and then his disciples took that up. And it started slowly, but it reached a certain kind of, critical mass. And all of a sudden, because there are enough temples and enough devotees that to start a fire, it only takes a single match, a single spark, and somebody somewhere doing something, and then, And so that's how it happened. Here and there, devotees all of a sudden, hey, that devotee, he did, he sold a Krishna book on the street. What? I remember one time I did 3 Krishna books in a week on the street, and I was, I led the pack in the temple, And other now you read about people, where's this guy? Is he in New York? Where is he? Huh? What? I read one day he did something like, thousands of books in a single day. I don't know how it's possible. Shoti Maharaj had some kind of incredible record also, where he was just doing stacks and stacks of sets of Bhagavatams. But it starts small, and the empowerment comes. But it got to the point where so many books are going out in so many languages, and Srila Prabhupada felt fulfilled. He felt fulfilled. And he was so grateful to his disciples that in his voice he was choking and weeping because they understood his Manobishta, which was the Manobishta of his Guru, which goes back to Mahaprabhu himself, ordering Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, to write books. Srila Prabhupada says, Lord Chaitanya instructed his disciples to write books, a task to which those who follow him have continued down to the present day. That's our thing. That's why That's why everybody gets so much joy and happiness and strength. This was also our Srila Gurudev's desire. He said, just like in the time of Swamiji, I want you to print books. Print my books, distribute them, don't leave them in cold storage. Right? And we're very happy to distribute his books. We're also very happy to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. We don't make a distinction there. Although in this line we want to make sure that what Gurudev's words were are added to the library. Because, Rupa Goswami wrote books, but so did Sanatan. And then following them, Krishnadas Kaviraj, right? Narottam Das, Raghunath Das, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Saraswati Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, all write books. And Srila Prabhupada instructed us as his disciples, you should write every day. something, like a journal, right? And this, he says, it will fix your realization and help you. It'll help you to understand and help you to express. Right? So, Manubhishta Seva. Prabhu, when will that auspicious day come when illusory desires leave my heart and I become your unalloyed servant? At that time, I will please you by fulfilling your inner desire. So, Srila Prabhupada had a twofold mission to create communities, which he called bases, for the, and Saraswati Prabhupada called mats. And a mat is not a temple. It has a little temple in it, but a mat is distinguished from a temple. A temple is where people go and they offer incense and throw a little money, and then they pray for something. Give me this, give me that, please, I'm your servant. Right? And that's not bad, that's something, right? Something. But a mat is where you go to learn, to imbibe the principles of bhakti, and from which place people go out. Srila Prabhupada said, like soldiers going out with our books, which are like bombs, right? And our prasad, we used to call, the ladus and simply wonderfuls that we distributed, or gulab jamans, you call them ISKCON bullets. Because anyone who ate it, he said, they'll get a human life and they'll continue on with this bhakti. Simple life, happy life, right? Happy life. So I guess I'm a little, I have to run out early today, so I'm going to stop here. And I hope to continue. Sometimes once I hit the road, though, things get interrupted. But we'll stop here. Offer obeisance to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, all the assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. Jai Jai, Gaur Premananda.